Today, we're breaking down the case of Jaiko versus the People, where Jaiko was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to life imprisonment despite being a first-time offender. We'll explore the reasons why the court upheld this life sentence and the legal principles at play. On March 17, 2017, Jaiko returned to his temporary home after being denied entry earlier with an unknown woman. He then lured an 8-year-old girl from the house and took her into the bush, where he sexually assaulted her. During the assault, Jaiko held her mouth to stop her from screaming, causing her to suffocate and die. He was caught in the act and later arrested. Initially charged with murder, the charge was reduced to manslaughter, to which Jaiko readily admitted. Despite his confession, the court sentenced him to life imprisonment, calling his actions inhuman and devilish. The appeal focused on whether the life sentence was excessive, given that Jaiko was a first-time offender who had admitted his guilt. His defense referred to cases where first-time offenders received more lenient sentences following guilty pleas. However, the court upheld the life sentence for several reasons. The court noted that Jaiko's guilty plea did not necessarily indicate remorse, since he was caught in the act. There was no other option but for him to plead guilty, limiting the mitigating effect of his admission. The court took judicial notice of the rise in sexual offenses against young girls. This means the court acknowledged the societal prevalence of such crimes and factored it into sentencing as a deterrent. Aggravating circumstances, the violent nature of the crime, the sexual assault of an 8-year-old girl resulting in her death, was viewed as an aggravating factor. The court recognized that first-time offenders are often granted leniency, as we discussed in the case of Hamweenzu versus the People. In that case, the court showed mercy due to the offender's first-time status and remorse. In this case, the death of a child during a violent sexual assault was deemed too serious to warrant a lighter sentence, even for a first-time offender. Lessons from the case. 1. Leniency for first-time offenders is not guaranteed. The seriousness of the crime, especially one involving a child, can outweigh the mitigating factors like being a first-time offender. 2. Courts can take societal trends into account when deciding on a sentence, especially for crimes that are becoming more common. 3. When an offender is caught in the act, their guilty plea may be seen as a formality rather than a sincere expression of regret. That's it for today's breakdown. This case shows how courts balance the gravity of a crime with mitigating factors when determining a sentence. Thanks for tuning in to Legal Stories. Stay with us as we continue to simplify complex legal principles.